Awareness Day, and Emergence Health Network wants you to know more about this misunderstood problem. The Health Network says self-injury often begins around the age of 12 to 14 and is most commonly the result of feelings of sadness, distress, anxiety, or even confusion. Teenagers often use self-injury as a way to cope with these negative emotions. Emergence says isolation could be a sign that your child could be self-harming themselves.
Somebody is isolating themselves from friends or family. They may be trying to hide something on their body or trying to hide their emotions from others so they don't have to answer questions or talk about their feelings.
According to research from the Journal of American Board of Family Medicine, approximately 4% of Americans self-harm, with a majority of those being college students. Emergence encourages you to reach out if you are considering harming yourself, and you can also call or text the suicide line hotline at 988.
So what I want to talk about is why people self-harm. Many parents don't know and don't understand and often end up asking, why is this happening? This makes no sense to me. And we do know that people who self-harm have a difficult time regulating their emotions. So what self-harm becomes is a really unhealthy but effective coping mechanism. As they cut or hurt themselves or pinch themselves or pull their hair, they notice they get a spike of adrenaline, and it helps to numb the emotional pain and discomfort. Sometimes self-harm comes out as a reprieve from the numbness that they often feel in their life. The most common pattern I see with self-harming is that the girls that we work with will hurt themselves, and they notice that as soon as they do, parents, siblings, friends, teachers, everyone's really quick to rush in and to help them, and well-intentioned, wanting to provide support. This often reinforces a self-harm behavior as girls or our adolescents think that that's the way to get relationship. So pretty soon they realize every time I feel alone, I can hurt myself and I get a warmth of love and care and compassion towards me. So it's important to understand why your loved one might be doing this, and then you can help understand your role, what your role might be in the problem.
What are the warning signs that parents should be watching out for when it comes to self-injury?
Stress is a part of daily life, but if you notice that it's turning into tremendous emotions like anxiety that's persistent, doesn't alleviate, depression, isolation, they're not taking care of themselves, they're isolating. And again, parents, you know your children. If you notice there's a shift in them academically, in their self-care and the way they socialize, pay attention, lean in, have curiosity.
And if you find that your child is self-harming, Psychology Today says the first step is to stay calm. Create a safe space for them to talk openly and keep that conversation open and non-judgmental. Also, validate their feelings and remind them that you love them. Also, never be afraid to reach out for professional mental health support if you think your child needs help. That is Eye on Your Health. I'm Brooke Katz, CBS News, Texas.
It's a bit weird not to be cutting. I mean, sometimes it's really hard. But the more I manage without doing it, the better I feel. And my scars, they are a part of me. And when I look at them, they remind me of how far I've come.
Young people who deliberately hurt themselves don't necessarily want to die, but it can become a way in which they cope with distress or overwhelming negative feelings, thoughts, or memories. Some stresses that might trigger self-harm include difficulties with family or close friends, school or work problems, depression, alcohol and drug use, grief, trauma, or abuse. People who self-harm don't need to work it out alone. Finding someone to talk to, a local doctor, counsellor, Headspace or eHeadspace, or a confidential helpline is a great place to start. Self-harm might be a way to cope for a while, but in time it is important to learn to manage difficult feelings and cope with stress in much healthier ways.